Welcome to the full moon reading. Full moon is in Gemini. It's going to be happening really early tomorrow morning. So I wanted to give this to you guys the night before. You should have already started noticing, or you most likely have started noticing the full moon aspecting, the world around you. In Sagittarius season, it expands everything, including any transits that are happening. So if you've noticed that Jupiter going into Capricorn, um, the Chiron asteroid going direct, Mercury just went into Sag, like all of these things are having a bigger impact because Sagittarius nature and Jupiter nature, which is the season we're in, it always expands. So it's going to magnify something. So if you notice that stuff is a little more easier to see, I've been pointing out a lot of that stuff on my Instagram page. It's stars underscore on underscore stars. So stars on stars. It's a great platform for uniting film and astrology. Also, I throw in some tarot in there because how could I not? I love it so much. But I really encourage you guys to check that out. Follow that page. It's something that you can look at when you're on the go. You're on the bus, your commute, whatever, you're flipping through your Insta stories and you get some great insights. And especially if you love film, because it's a way of bringing film um, in a bigger lens, where it aspects, everything that it touches, mainly by looking at the actors' star charts, their birth charts. I'm able to kind of discern what pieces of their characters relate to the story and relate to them personally, and how it all plays out, and what's the symbolism, what's the links, and just the overall bigger purpose of the lessons that we receive through films, because there are quite a few. I mean, if you take film and theater and entertainment and you look at it through the lens of Leo, which is kind of its ruler to some degree, Leo is a coach, Leo is a teacher, Leo is an instructor, but it's a creative energy. So it finds a way to personalize the experience to you, and so it's a lot more intimate of an approach. Um, where Gemini is like the classroom teacher, Leo is like the personal coach. It's pinpointing exactly what you need because Leo is very soul centered. It speaks to the heart, so it knows the depth of the humans it's interacting with as well as itself very easily. That's also how it works so well with its opposite sign, Aquarius, which understands other people to a very significant level. Not so much themselves. Air signs do have a trouble seeing themselves clearly, but it knows and understands other people's and their situations very well. So that's how you can see Leo evolving through its polar sign, Aquarius, which always look at your opposite sign because you will find some form of that in your own life. Obviously, you'll find all of the stars and the signs in your life and in your chart, but it's more significant to look at the polar ones if you're curious to do so. So I definitely encourage you guys to do that. But definitely check out that Instagram. I'm putting out a lot of material. I had a really exciting clip this week for Transit Tuesdays. And it's every Tuesday we look at what are the major transits happening. We pinpoint it down to one transit and we focus on learning more about it. So this week it was about Chiron. Which not everyone looks at asteroids, but it's widely regarded in the astrological community, any kind of metaphysical community, that asteroids do play a huge impact in your personology, in your chart, and they affect you almost to a similar degree as the planets do. And Chiron in particular is a heavy, heavy asteroid aspect. And so it's very significant. So check that out, learn more about that. And if you haven't already found out what your birth chart or natal chart is, please message me on Instagram. I will link my email down below this video if you'd like to reach out to me for an in-depth birth chart reading, analysis, or just a personalized tarot reading. Maybe you want a little more answers than what's going on in this video. But here we go. We're going to start it off with some cards picked for your sign for the full moon. Let's see here. I got to catch my breath. Whew. Full moon in Gemini. Notice the breath. It's very important. Sag energy is just go, go, go. You know, we've had nothing but like really yucky weather lately, but we still feel this urge to just keep going, keep pushing. There's multiple projects, multiple things happening, lots of change. That's Sag season. So just for this moon in general right now, we have a very prosperous card, Four of Wands. This is about, you know, celebrating. It's kind of like a victory lap almost. You see the chariot and everything, but it's more about harvesting. So it's like reaping the success of your hard work. That's very Sag. You know, it's like coming out of Scorpio. You've redefined yourself. You've transformed. And now you kind of see this bright and bold new beginning. That's very much what this card is. You know, this could mean a lot of movement, you know, literal movement if you're changing your home situation. That's very big with this card. Maybe you're going off to college, you're starting back that, you know, journey again with schools. Gemini and Sagittarius work with learning and education. You know, it's just building a foundation because we see a very strong, big castle in the background. So it's fortified. It's solid. You know what I mean? It's you're coming onto something that's really going to help you center, stabilize yourself, provide comfort and security while allowing you to go forth. That's really what this new decade is going to be like. I've seen a lot of things in the community so far where they're talking about Emperor energy is what 2020 is going to be. It's very Aries. I hate to say that that is a big sign in Donald Trump's chart, but it could be, you know, the fall of his. Personally, I haven't looked too much in depth in that, but certainly that's going to magnify as we get closer to re-election or just the election time, you know. So yeah, it's really about finding what can bloom, what can blossom, what can nurture you, finding what really is meant for you out there. That's the Four of Wands energy we see here. And it's usually in a group setting, you know, like surely, you know, a lot of the fire energy, Aries and Leo in particular, are more solo artists. They're very independent. Sagittarius is very independent, but it's also the first of the collective signs. So we move into more of a group setting or a group atmosphere, and that doesn't necessarily mean that you can't be left alone or, you know, yeah, it's, you can be very independent but still be a part of a group, you know. It's more about doing something on a bigger level, involving more people, you know, working in some sort of social impact situation whether it's charity, it's, you know, stuff that's going to help on a bigger scale. You know, it's bigger minded stuff. You think when we look at Gemini, it's a small classroom, typically 30 people or so. You know, if you think back to your school, that can vary, but then you go to college, which is usually on a much bigger level, and you have people from all different ethnicities, nationalities coming to this place, this sanctuary of learning, to expand their minds and to really prepare them for what is out there in the real world and to hone in on their particular gifts and what they can really give back to society, but also find their own value while doing so. And so, college and university is a very big part of Sagittarius energy. And it's really challenging us all to expand our minds, to push past our societal limitations, whether that is, um, stereotypes or stigmas that we attach to certain cultures based on our upbringing and our background. Um, I don't think I have to go into more detail than that. But yeah, it's all about that stuff. So if we want to get into it now, hold on. I just had this card come out. I wasn't thinking of anything in particular yet. So Hermit. So this really exemplifies some of that energy as well. The Hermit's usually associated with Virgo, but we were talking about career, which is in the 10th house when you look at Sagittarius. And look how much expansion that is. It's taking, you know, things that maybe even be misunderstood. You think of a snake and how many different um, fears and irrational, mindsets are attached to that animal. And, in particular, almost Scorpio. Um, it's very misunderstood. And just like a black wolf, like it can look very, you know, off putting. It's like Sirius Black, looks scary at first, like the Grim, like something to be superstitious about or something to fear. But the hermit himself represents kind of a beacon of light, and it's going on a path of exploration to come back enlightened. And so that's why Virgos can typically be very, very not isolated, but they're very hermetic in nature. They're, I guess, independent, but they just need a lot of alone time. They're very introverted. I can speak to that because I have Virgo in my chart. I'm a Leo Virgo, so I'm right in between a very bold and a very private sign. And I'm also Mars in Virgo, so when I introduce myself or when I start something, um, I typically feel very, very shy. When it comes to meeting people, when it comes to doing things, I'm very routine oriented. But I can also be very, very detailed, very critical, which is a blessing and a curse at times. Sometimes you wish you could turn those things off, but you have your own personal gifts for a reason, and trying to find the best use for them is, kind of always the purpose of life, right? Anyways, tangent. But we're going to get into this. We're going to start with Aries, of course. Okay. So already, woo, 3. Woo. Okay, I'm really going to have to catch my breath, y'all. I don't know. This moon impacts me for sure because I have a Gemini rising. I'm sorry. And then all of my personal placements, I have so much activity in my third house. I have 4 planets in there, not, to even mention some of the asteroids I have in there. But it's a big one for me, y'all. So I can relate if you're going through some similar stuff already. So Aries, Ace of Wands in reverse. Yes, we see Aries as the starter. Ace of Wands is really about a bold new beginning. It's like striking the match. It's starting in a very big way, big direction. But it's kind of like the universe is flipping the light switch on for you. It's like Aries kind of has to be guided. They're not the best at um, amassing things for themselves. They're not as purpose driven as, say, a Leo or maybe even a Sagittarius that comes later. With a child, you have to kind of hold their hand to some degree, but thanks to that, they are very, very fast learners. They are very observant, and they just have this kind of successful quality to them where they kind of dominate a space, and they pick up on what they need to, and they just keep going. And that's how you guys start. You're very fast paced. very instinctual, very kind of almost uh, primeval, to some degree. Like you think like an animal almost, because you come first. So that more primitive nature is kind of the way in which you kind of take in the world and react to it. So Ace of Wands, you guys are like, okay, so what's going on? Like, I feel this need for a change. I feel like this Sagittarian season beckoning me for something different, but I just don't know what. And I feel like I have this spark or this energy, but I'm just like, where do I put it? I can't channel it into anything. Nothing seems suitable for me right now. And that's because you kind of are, you're not in the best sense of judgment at the moment, which goes hand in hand with that. It's like if you don't have a vessel or a vehicle to put in your tenacity and your passion, it's like it kind of just comes off as like bullyish behavior. Queen of Wands can be very, very abrasive. I always, always, always think of Hermione Granger when I see this card. She is an Aries. Emma Watson is. I think Hermione's birthday is a Virgo. But Emma is definitely an Aries. I've seen her career, for so long, and she comes off as very, abrasive, but she's also very fire. So it's like stuff that's necessary. It's not just like she's like fanning the flame for no reason. But you guys aren't really sure of your position right now. You feel this intensity, this tenacity. That's two wand energy cards. So you feel this burning sensation, this desire to go forth and do something around the full moon, but you just don't have the direction. And that's kind of like Gemini is very hard to direct. We see it. It's multiple personalities. It's multiple ways of thought, and it's very hard to channel into just one thing. And that's what it's really all about here is like almost channeling this. And look, right off the bat, we get the moon card. So we should see that, at least once during a full moon reading, but that's very interesting to note. So this one isn't necessarily going to be the most productive. This moon is not necessarily going to be the most productive for y'all, because we have all these upside down, and reversals don't necessarily mean that woe is me, the world is turning, like everything's going downhill, because these are pretty positive cards, honestly, and it's just that you can't access the energy as naturally as you usually can, and I'm just talking about this channeling. It's just a lot of fire, and it just wants to spread. But it's, just be careful, because you don't want to start a chain reaction or a wildfire. You've got some secrets that are really, really beckoning to come forth with this moon card. Moon is illusion, and fire doesn't really mix well with secrets. Fire and water, those are two elements that don't mesh very well. Fire puts everything out there on display, and water holds everything in internally. And so what that may look like around the full moon is you guys almost like having this itch or having this urge to just blabber out, something that either people aren't ready to hear, or it's just not going to have the right impact yet because it's not working with you necessarily. So really be careful about the things that you're saying, how you're criticizing others, and, maybe being a little bossy right now. Do so with caution. Jupiter just moved into Capricorn, so it's really about make sure you have your checks and balances in line before you kind of start something, before you take on something, because just whining about it isn't going to get you anywhere. And it's really important for you to come to terms with any secrets or anything that you are worried are going to just kind of surmise themselves or just come out and kind of dethrone you. But that's pretty much it. I mean, I'm really not too worried about these cards. Nothing too big, but you guys are just going to have an excess amount of energy right now, which is natural for the full moon. Maybe get out and do some sports, do some physical activities to kind of try to release it when you don't have an actual way to channel it into maybe your work or your passions. Just find some way to at least get it out of your body. You know what I mean? Yeah. So Aries, that was you. You got 3 cards. Look at you, just coming on out. So let's move on to Taurus. Let's see how fast Taurus wants to speak. Oh, okay. So opposite are, we got all of these right side up. So Taurus, already you guys are, you're realizing what's going on. You are not so much being pushed against the tide, but that doesn't mean that this tide is easy. It's not one that you can just surf right along either. It's definitely not a lazy river for y'all right now. If you watch my Instagram, I put a link at the top showing the week for the card ahead for your sign for this week. I'm going to try to tie it into this video as well for further kind of like, things, but Taurus, you already had the Emperor in Judgment for this week, and so that's also like claiming your power through making a really big decision, and it could be something that really impacts you in a huge way. I mean, Emperor is like already like a judgment, it's like a very stern, older, wise, but very man's man individual, and then you mix Judgment, which is a very weighty decision that can have very lasting impact. And so it's something that's starting you off for the new decade. Like, you guys are already realizing there's something that needs to be done around this full moon in Gemini. So Ace of Swords, seeing where this full moon energy can take you. If we're talking about a hawk taking flight, it looks like people use those to get a glimpse of what's going to come or what is coming their way and then coming back. I love these cards. They're just so cool. They're called After Tarot, and they're things like, imagine like what would happen directly after the Rider-Waite deck, those tarot cards. And so they're very similar, but it's just like a little fast forward that I really like. It's probably my favorite deck I have. And yeah, so there's some insights that you guys are kind of on the prowl for. You know that you need to go out and get some understanding before you kind of make a decision. So it could really be involving your friend group. Who are you celebrating with this holiday season? Are you feeling trapped? Are you feeling paralyzed? Are you feeling like you just can't enjoy this energy because there is something that is keeping you from really being on that same level with everybody? Like I said, Sagittarius is that group energy. It's that vibe. It's like that, you spark up a blunt or something and everybody's on that like high together. That's very Sag energy. And there's something blocking you from that. And it looks like it is self-inflicted. But that doesn't mean that there could be stuff going on in your friend group or your circle that is making you doubt things, that is making you question, are these people going to be there come the new decade? Should they be there? Do I still have a place for them? The drinking, the partying could really be just tugging at you right now when you're, about to embark on a really big decision, a big journey, lots of planning. Coming into Capricorn season, it's all about planning. I mean, it represents the calendar and the start of the new year. So it's a lot of foresight and stuff like that. And so you're really just coming to terms with like, okay, I love indulging. I love partying. I'm Venus energy. This is a very natural card for you guys to get, but you're just like, okay, but there's some personal stuff that's really beckoning to come forth. Can I speak it? That's what Gemini energy is about. The full moon is like, can I say those things that need to come out, those things that need to come to light. I feel like if I speak them, it's going to make it real. Maybe that's what you guys are struggling with. You don't want to put a name to it yet. You don't want to bring it out because you're just kind of scared of, like, maybe there's like some complacency or there's some comfort to the fear that you guys are living in. And so you'd rather just kind of stay in bed as opposed to, greet the day. But again, I'd say these aren't as big as the ones we drew for the actual week. So it's just more of an embodiment of those major arcana, Emperor, and Judgment cards. If you guys are dealing with an Aries in your life, there's a really big decision that's coming from that person or involving that person. So you guys need to look at. But usually it involves a boss, someone older, maybe wiser, but in a higher position, a higher rank, usually. If we're looking at it like a work sphere, that's usually Emperor energy. So that's kind of what I have for you guys. Let's move on to Gemini. I need to keep this a little more concise because we're already I'm making this a really long video. So Gemini, let's just try to keep it to one card. Gemini, this is your full moon. This is really going to affect y'all. So let's see what you guys have been working on since your new moon back in your season. It's come full 6 months later. It's like a full cycle. Well, it's a 180. A full cycle would be next year in Gemini season, right? Ooh, okay. Wow, really easy. Okay. So 6 of Pentacles. You guys are feeling a charitable nature. You're like, okay, I feel this Sag energy. You're like, Sag is more about giving back. It's more about progressing humanity. It's, reaching back the bow and arrow, and it's finding a far off point to work towards. That's what this is really. It's about setting intentions, and it's about manifesting. And so you guys are really feeling that. If you guys are involved in community stuff right now, you're really feeling the holiday charity, where you want to kind of maybe brighten somebody else's day. Maybe you guys need a little bit of this yourself. And so it's really about using your voice and asking for it. If you need some help right now, financially, this is, a card to see that there is help out there. People aren't turning a blind eye to you. There is receptivity when we get this card, and it's also combined with, the Magician. So I feel like this is going to be more so you guys are going to be giving back. Your Mercury linked to Virgo, and just teaching in general is about giving back, and it's about enlightening others. And so you guys feel like the magnification of Sagittarius season giving you guys more strength, more emphasis, and you want to give it back in a more practical way, which is great. I mean, this card could mean teaching to some degree, but the pentacles, the coins, the obvious imagery is more of a charitable nature. It's more of a material way. So you guys are really going to have fun gift giving this holiday season. That's what I see. Magician is going to really amplify that gift energy. That is a super powerful card to get. It's also Mercury too. So it's like you guys at your most zen, at your most practiced, at your most cognizant. And it's not like all these voices that are normally going simultaneously that kind of keep you guys scattered. You're really finding your center right now, which is very, very nice to see. Kudos. If you guys have found ways to do that, meditation, yoga, whatever it is to you, I mean, write it. You guys are starting 2020 in a very nice way. Cancer, what are you going to be around this full moon? We have Page of Pentacles in reverse is what I got for you guys during the week ahead reading. Okay. Strength. So strength, courage is really impacting you guys right now. Maybe you feel a little scared, a little childlike. You want to, like Taurus, kind of stay under the covers. The weather isn't that great. I mean, at least where I am. And it's about indulgence, comfort. Sag season, we usually eat excess. We do everything in excess. So the belt could definitely be expanding, or the waist could be expanding. You guys do represent the stomach after all. But if you guys don't relate to that necessarily, Leo is just about doing what needs to be done. It's not easy. If you ask most Leos, their lives aren't typically easy. I think they are harder than most because they show up for the occasion. They don't back down from adversaries, from people that are unethical, immoral, things like that. And so they really feel this bigger sense of conviction when it comes to situations and people. And that's where the leadership qualities come out of. And they always look good on Leo for sure. And it's about you guys kind of taking on that power right now. It's doing things that are maybe outside of your comfort zone, but it's stuff that needs to be done, and no one else is stepping up to the plate right now. And so it seems like it's impacting you guys in your work. And Page of Pentacles, you're like, okay, where exactly can I find my value? Where is that money? This opportunity doesn't seem like it's for me, or it seems like it's going to be a lot more work than I am capable of right now, or that I want to be capable of right now. But it's realizing that you guys do have the tenacity to push forward, to go on this journey and to see what you're made of. Yeah, I mean, this looks like such a pleasant card. And we have to look at it closer. You have a lion, you have to tame. And you guys kind of are more so the maiden in this imagery. It's more so the mother, the nurturer, kind of embracing that wild energy, and you're calming it down. You're making it something more useful. You're like containing something wild and like not beneficial, and you're kind of like you're funneling it, you're getting just the right amount out. And so that's really what that is about. Pages are typically students, so you guys are kind of on this quest of knowledge or learning, which is perfect for this season and this full moon. But you just don't exactly know what subject you're necessarily taking. You don't really know what your syllabus is or what your schedule is. You don't know anything about your professor. There's a lot of unknowns into that, but you're going in a general direction with the Strength card, because the sun energy attached to Leo illuminates things. So, just have some patience, really. Really have some patience. Okay, Leo, speaking of, you guys had a lot of cards in your week ahead. So again, check out my Instagram, Stars on Stars. It's a picture of a red chair with the number 23 on it, in case you guys come across multiple accounts, because it's stars _on_ stars, Stars on Stars. Follow it, but look at the week ahead in my the top portion of the profile, and see what your cards are. Visually, I think it helps to see them. I am using a different deck today because I really feel like I should be using this one more. It speaks to me more, and it's a lot more fun. It's a lot more new, Sagittarius. So, Leo, you guys had 9 of Pentacles in reverse, Page of Cups in reverse, and 8 of Cups. Yes, no major arcana, so nothing life-threatening, but there's a really big sense of people not being receptive to what you have to give right now. You'll always have that nature or that presence that you you want to coach somebody, you want to mentor somebody, you want to give something back, you want to inspire. That's something that you guys wear with you at all times. And you're just like, nobody fucking cares right now. And and it's so hard for you guys to stay strong because it's like you have um, all of these abilities within you, and there's just nothing for you right now to put forth. And that's very much what Aries is going through too. As we saw, there's like they just don't have a way to channel that energy. You guys, it's pushing you further into running. You want to run away, you want to stop stuff. I mean, I'm not going to get personal here, but it's really impacting me. This could be a huge turning point for me personally. Um, but I feel it. I feel it with you guys. I just kind of want to stop everything, um, or stop that one thing that is doing the most damage, whatever that may be for you, and just really, really just like go in a whole new direction, a very scary direction. Less scary, more so the people around me I think would be scared about it, but I feel like I have to do it. Fixed signs, it takes a lot for us to really quit something, and it could really be impacting a lot of you guys right now because we feel so undervalued, unappreciated, which is a really big trigger for us when we're underappreciated. We just want a simple thank you. Like, we don't want some big gesture. We like giving the big gesture, but we don't expect it from other people. You know what I mean? And so it's just like, just give us just like a little moment, a little nod of appreciation. It's not that hard. That's what we always like want from people. Just some reassurance. We kind of are kids to some degree. We need that camaraderie, that display. So, Two of Pentacles. So here we go, embarking on a new journey. That's a positive aspect of this card. Um, but there is a duality to this card, as we see the infinity symbol being tossed, like juggled. And so we're trying to find this balance. It's almost like the scales with Libra. And this card does have to do with love and relationships. It's usually one you find a lot when you're in one. And money matters affecting that relationship is really what this is about. And so you feel the need to go in a new direction, but maybe things aren't financially where they need to be. And there's this structure of is your relationship strong enough right now to survive the financial impact and the venture, the journey that you want to embark on? That's kind of the question. I'm going to keep it short with that. We're only not even halfway through the signs here, but you guys really check out my Instagram. I'm going to be doing this every week. I'll have a week ahead card for you guys, but also, reach out to me, DM me for a personalized reading if you're really struggling right now. It's important to just have someone that kind of understands. I mean, it is my sign after all, so I really, really feel you guys right now, in particular Leo. It's been a struggle. It really has. I'm not going to get emotional, but yeah. Okay. So I'm looking at Virgo. Virgo, Three of Cups in reverse is what I drew on the Instagram, and Three of Pentacles in reverse is what we have here. 3 and 3, both in reverse. Okay. So this is really about, the new endeavors. It's like putting your mouth where your money is. Like, it's really about putting it out there. And this is really impacting you guys, obviously, in the work sphere, because if we look at Gemini energy is in your 10th house of career. So if we're looking at the full moon, it could be impacting a lot of work, and you guys are an earth sign, so there's no surprise there. Now, what's interesting about this card is that in the Rider-Waite, there's this person on the bench, and this is all black. There isn't a figure already carved. Um, and there's a couple admiring the work in progress. And so it's really about collaboration. And you guys have maybe just come out of some collaboration, some start of a project, or you're still envisioning it. You're trying to involve people in something, and you're going to start in a big way. But you're already seeing kind of the impact that it's going to have. There's some vision that is coming through here. And so that's great. I mean, you guys are like almost fast forwarding the project itself and seeing how it's really going to impact you. You guys have like some really good clarity at the moment. Three of Cups in reverse. Make sure that the partying and everything, just like Taurus, you guys aren't overdoing it right now, especially if you have something big to be working on. Put your time into this. Yeah. Libra. Oh. Okay. So we have 9 of Wands in reverse. You guys have come pretty far. So far, there's somebody that wants to join you. Sag, Gemini. Gemini's duality. It's 2 people. Usually, when you see a Gemini, it's not just usually them. They're not like a solo sign. There's at least like one friend always tagging along, or they're in a group, or they're with a sibling or something like that. It's working with other people. And so that's what's coming out here. You guys feel this inspiration to collaborate, similar to Virgo that just came before you. But this is more so you're already in a very successful arena. Like you've come a long ways, and now people are coming to help you. You've got your defenses up. You've been through a lot. You've got the bandage on your head, and now someone is coming to help you, to pick you up, and yeah, and just be reciprocal to what you're already offering. So it's pretty good there. Yeah, it doesn't look like somebody that's going to thwart you in any way if you're feeling skeptical about trusting this person. It looks like somebody that really is just inspired by what you have done already and just wants to be on your team. Yeah, 8 of Cups and Hermit. If it's a Virgo, that's definitely showing up here because you guys drew the Hermit and the 8 of Cups. But I do have to say 8 of Cups is about leaving something. So maybe that's why we got this in reverse, is there's a lot of responsibility that's weighing on you guys, and you're just like, I just don't know if this is for me anymore. I think I need to do some of my own independent stuff. For once, you guys, don't want to be in the group. That's kind of refreshing. Okay, Scorpio. Scorpio was like the easiest and like a really positive card. Yeah, in the Insta story. So it was 6 of Pentacles, which is giving back. You guys are feeling that charity. Think of like Salvation Army, the Santa Claus, or just, working the soup kitchen, whatever it is you want to do around the holidays. Finding that kind of nature. So Scorpio, what do we have full moon wise? Gemini and Sag season. Okay, there's some rest. So what we're doing here is we're kind of putting to bed some notions that we're paralyzed, or that we are more tired than we need to be. It's like finding that rest, finding that spa day, so the people that you want to give back to are more reciprocal to that, or like you're kind of at your best. Yeah, this is like giving the curtains, or drawing the curtains on something that just wasn't really ever yours to begin with, or it wasn't your energy, and it just was more draining than anything. It is more getting inside of your head, making you a little psychological. We see the swords, and so it's like concentrate on these other three. Just put this other one to bed and find some peace with it. So if that's turning into a spiritual practice for you guys, going to church, if that's your thing, going, and just meditate or just be in some spiritual space. Scorpio, obviously associated with death, going to a cemetery, if that's your thing, if it's very like, what's the girl's name? Lydia Dietz from Beetlejuice. I can always imagine her like just going to a cemetery for like a picnic or something. Whatever that thing is to you. Ooh, okay. Scorpio, hit me up, DM me. There's some other stuff that fell here, and I do want to explore further with you guys. I wasn't planning on anything. I was going to move to Sag, but there's some other stuff that's come up here. Yeah, reach out to me, honestly. Okay. Sagittarius. Whoa. Okay, you guys are ready. This card came out, no question. Okay, Six of Wands. This is really your card, Sag. You're in the limelight. Yes, Sag can have that almost overconfidence or like that overassuredness that sometimes like people can be like, oh, it's a little too much. But it's more for the collective to enjoy. It's not just like them personally owning that, and it's just more of like this exchange of success. And it's like learning how to laugh at yourself. Comedians do it so well. They criticize humanity, but they do it in such a good way that the satire of it is enlightening and entertaining. It's just like this perfect combination. But here we see this victory lap happening. You're halfway through the wand suit and you're already achieving some good success. The card before this was the Five of Wands, and there's a few people kind of like challenging you. Whether they were at first collaborators or there were people that just kind of came out of the woodworks and just were trying to put you down or convince others that what you were working towards wasn't going to benefit the group or whatever that was. There was some frustration, maybe an argument, and now the Six, you've really come out on top. You've maintained your ground, you stayed strong, and you were patient. And this is a card that really comes for people that are in the right frame of mind, that aren't wavered by little pokes or little challengers, that are just trying to kind of throw you this energy and just watch you deal with it. There are those people that always start something or they prod you and then they just sit back and they want to watch it all unravel. And you guys are way higher than those people, and you see through that stuff, and it's just like so beneath you, and that sometimes it doesn't even seem like a challenge to you because you're just so evolved. Not every Sagittarius out there, but that's typically what the sign represents. I mean, it's in Greek mythology, Sag is Zeus. It's the ultimate father, the kind of the most powerful, depending on how you look at that, but the overall purveyor of, the realm. And somebody that was very independent. Obviously, he didn't play by the rules, or he wasn't the most committed to his marriage, and he got involved in a lot of affairs, not just like in a sexual nature, but just like the affairs of mortals, the affairs of other gods, and the stories, and he's kind of mixed throughout. And so, but I think there is this saving sensibility that Sag is a higher purpose. It is something to work towards, and it would be nice to look at things from such a high perspective. So, I don't know where I'm going with that. The card that you guys also draw was Two of Wands. So, ooh, if you are thinking of where in the world you want to um, go where, the success is. Um, go where it's speaking to you. Go where you think it would be most reciprocated, you know, or just take a trip. It could just mean a simple excursion. Page of Swords and Queen of Pentacles for Aquarius. I'm sorry, we're skipping. I want to do this again. Whoop. We're skipping. Capricorn. So, Insta story, we drew Ace of Pentacles, but I believe it was in reverse. So there's some new stuff coming out for you guys, which you may feel, a little indifferent about, or you're just like, you're probably the one sign that doesn't really get too excited about change. Yes, you love to collaborate with people. Yes, you love to meet people because you always see like this connection. You're like, maybe this will come in handy later down the road if I have this connection, if I network with this person, or if I collaborate with them now. And so you're doing it more so out of a resourceful need. The Capricorns are super resourceful. They're like, oh, I know this person, and they'll hook you up or whatever. But it doesn't necessarily mean that you yourself change your priorities or your needs, or you're necessarily seeing something different. I feel like they kind of always stay at the same tenacity, which they're a very tenacious sign. I mean, you guys, if you're pushed, will kind of do whatever to stay on top. I'm not going to go into more than that, but here you're really kind of shooting your shot and taking a chance, like letting things happen for a change. You feel like this kick of inspiration. So if this is really affecting, your work sphere, I'd say it looks very promising. You guys need to be more receptive. So here, there's a combination where in the Rider-Waite, it's just the wands falling into place by themselves, but it looks like you guys aren't just going to sit back and let that happen. Of course, Earth sign, you're going to want to get involved. And so you're going to want to maybe put in some rules, put in some structure, have some connections, have a further grasp or handle on the situation instead of kind of just letting it go and letting it start naturally. But I don't see anything wrong here. It looks like it's going to be pretty prosperous, new year and maybe birthday for you guys. So, but maybe, let things happen a little bit. Give yourself less work, honestly. Aquarius, you had the star. You had your own card in the Insta story. Very cool. And the Page of Pentacles. And, ooh, the Magician. He is a reverse. But there's some really big stuff coming out of the woodworks for you guys. Magician, the master of all elements, but he's also the beginning. He's the number one card. He comes after the Fool, which you guys are more of Fool energy in general because you're more of like taking the leap, going into uncharted waters. Very similar to Sagittarius, Aquarius. Not to say that you guys don't analyze and you don't like to dive deep into something, because you definitely do. I mean, you guys usually have the best conspiracy theories. You look to peel back behind the curtains and see what's really going on, documentary style, And the Magician here just means that your creativity is kind of coming to a zenith. You feel like the spark. You feel like there's a big road ahead and that you're very well equipped for tomorrow. So reversals means that, you can kind of feel disempowered. Maybe you're just like, I have all these things on my to-do list, but I just don't know where to start. I just don't feel like what's coming out right now is very organic. And you're just, that inspiration just hasn't quite hit yet. And, a Gemini full moon, maybe making you guys a little more turbulent than normal. yeah, but Page of Pentacles, really looking at where the investment lies, where can you go forth to really start something worthwhile. What I'm noticing here is a pattern with a lot of signs in that we're all starting on these new endeavors. We're getting a lot of pentacle energy, which is, usually job stuff. I mean, but it's also material money. I mean, you think about Sag, and yes, it's a fire sign, but when you think about big or excess or luck, you typically think about money. You typically think about success, and success is almost like, one in one with money and wealth and fortune, the lottery, winnings, gifts, blessings. It's all of that like positive stuff. Not to say that Sagittarius doesn't have misfortune too, because it's a double-edged sword. But typically, the fire signs are more positive associations, typically. Um, and so that's, some really prosperous stuff coming up for you guys. You've kind of had like this weird back and forth. I feel like every week is very different for Aquarius. Like the week before, when I did the drawing for the tarot card of the week, um, it was very like macabre. It was very like, I even called it. I was like, you guys got the Scrooge card of the deck, and I was just like, okay, well, this is interesting. And then we're kind of like going in a different direction. The Star and Page of Pentacles. So you guys are having some future inspiration, insight, and it's just about realizing that you can do it. You do have it in you. You may think that, well, I'm really good at one thing, or I'm really more suited for this, or this is out of my comfort zone. But you're like, in the grand scheme of things, like, no, I do know what's right for myself. Um, and yes, it may not seem that I can check all the boxes right now, but I know things will unfold. And if I just keep working at it little and little, it'll start to change the orientation that I have around it and start to manifest. So that's what you guys are doing right now. You're in this cocoon of like manifesting, which will be really interesting to see how it unfolds come your season. So Pisces, Three of Pentacles in retrograde. You guys aren't really trusting the people that are coming to collaborate with you. Um, there's some skepticism, and you're just like, no, I want to do this. I don't really want to share the vision, that private nature, the secrets. Like you guys kind of like having that really intimate inner world. And then Knight of Wands, yeah, again. So we're seeing kind of this independent, flamboyant side of you guys, but it's abrasive. It's kind of like the Aries that got with the Queen of Wands. It's a little bossy. It's a little show-offy. So you guys are like kind of flaunting like your work, or what you have amassed recently. And it's not necessarily super productive. You're just kind of doing it for like appearances to some degree. So I'd say kind of like get off your high horse a little bit, and maybe just share some of the wealth, share some of the love. I mean, you guys are doing good, but it's just kind of feeling like a little bit of a brat right now, a little bit, around the holidays. You're just like, me. I want. Not to say that you don't look good, but it's just like, calm down. So maybe you guys are really feeling that big Sagittarius energy impacting you, because you guys also do share, Jupiter, or the sign of fortune. Neptune is more so the darker side of fortune. It's usually misfortune, but right now you guys are kind of going through a decent bit of like, your hard work is paying off. You're able to buy that thing that you've been wanting to buy, that new designer thing. Your Instagram is looking really good. Whatever it is, you're getting that attention, but I don't think it's inspiring you in a helpful way. I think you may be getting a little big-headed. If you guys want more clarity than that, reach out to me, DM me, follow me, Insta, Stars on Stars. Again, it's a picture of a red movie theater chair and the number 23 at the top. My name is Tyler Brass. If you can look at the name, I think you can on Instagram. But I've got some great things in the works on there. Every Tuesday, we have what's called Transit Tuesday, where I go over a major astrological transit or movement of either a planet or an asteroid. Like this week, we did Chiron going direct. So look into that if you want to learn more about Chiron. It's some big stuff. We're also doing week ahead tarot pools. So I'm usually going to try to have those Sunday or Monday. So at the beginning of the week, you guys can kind of know what to expect based off of like 1 or 2 cards, depending on how many falls. And just like a little quick Insta story summary of what it could mean. I do have services available right now. If you guys want a personal 30-minute tarot reading, I can do it through Skype, through FaceTime. There's different alternatives for doing that. If you aren't located in San Francisco, I'd really recommend meeting up in person. It's a lot more fun to do it face-to-face. And I've got this really cool coffee shop that I love going to that's like the perfect setting for that stuff. And if you want some 2020 Oracle readings for what to expect in the year to come, please reach out to me. I have prices and availability. There are digital services. So the Oracle reading is more of an in-depth analyzation. And so I give you basically a Word document based off of what I read for you month to month. And I send it to you email so you can look at it throughout the year. It's not just like an in-person reading that you're going to forget about. But I always encourage you to write down any of this stuff and look back on it. Yeah, so just things like that. Some great stuff in the works. I'm trying to really venture out into that direction. I'm doing things that are more me, that are more making me feel like I am helping people, but I'm also finding my own value through it. And so really, really coming into terms with what my gifts are and how they can impact me. So yeah, it's a great, great time for all of that stuff. Reach out to me in any way. Subscribe to the channel. I don't have anything constructed yet for like what I'm going to start doing on a regular basis, but I'm starting to re-feel out this channel and see is it still a good voice for me and what I have to offer for you guys. I want to make sure you're getting the best content from me. And so if it's this platform, if it's Instagram, whatever it may be, I'm going to try to figure out what that may be. So anyways, you guys take care. Full moon, stuff always gets a little crazy, a little more pent up. So if you notice some of that, don't take it personally. Don't get inside your head. Gemini energy, really kind of zen. Find that Buddhist, that monk energy of Sagittarius season, and don't let things impact you so much. I just bought an evil eye the other day as a ring. I should be wearing it. But it's just like one little more barrier for me, from letting the chaos in. Air signs, water signs, we're very susceptible to subconscious energy, and it impacts us in heavy ways that we don't really know how to filter or deal with. So yeah, it's a lot to say, but I hope you guys enjoyed this. I certainly did. And yeah, take care. Bye.